What is going on, guys? Welcome back. We're about halfway through day 3 of the patch 2.0 Dawn of the Hunt, and it's been quite a crazy little ride. I've just hit tier 15 maps around 1 hour ago, so I thought I would make a video update to my Zero Resistance Sunder Totem Blood Mage guide as promised. So this video will cover absolutely everything you need to know if you're planning on trying this build out, as well as a detailed leveling guide to ensure a very smooth transition through the campaign if you haven't completed already. So let's get into it. I will first explain how the build works. If you're already familiar with the build mechanics, feel free to skip this part. Timestamps will be down below. I will also at some point add some video footage with the build to showcase it while I'm explaining it to save some time, because I expect this video to be quite lengthy. This build uses Ancestral Warrior Totem linked with Sunder. The cool part about Sunder, its interaction with broken armor. When an enemy has its armor fully broken, Sunder consumes that to guarantee a critical strike, and it also has a 100% increased critical damage bonus inherently. What we do is use the totems and pair that with Resonating Shield to break the enemy's armor. With this setup, Resonating Shield usually takes a single tick to fully break the enemy's armor, even for rare and unique monsters. And you are also 100% blocking while using Resonating Shield, so that's also a great defensive layer. Now, we pair this with the Blood Mage Ascendancy, mainly for Gore Spike and Sanguimancy. What Gore Spike does is it increases the critical damage bonus per 40 life, and Sanguimancy basically doubles our maximum life while killing monsters. So what this means is that with high gear, we can reach around 7,000 life, double it in maps through the use of life remnants. So that means that Gore Spike will be adding over 300 increased critical damage bonus to Sunder, which already has 322 increased critical damage. So that will lead to around 600 to 700 increased critical damage, and we can force critical strikes always with the use of Ancestral Warrior Totem, and that leads to really high damage. So let's quickly go over the pros and cons of this build. The best part of this build is the fact that it's an absolutely great starter. I swapped over to it around level 59, where I could equip this weapon, and progressed with it all the way up to tier 15 maps without any kind of issue. I've done this with gear pieces that are between 1 to 5 exalts, with the exception of the Sunderer, which is not really mandatory for starters. But the fact that it doesn't have any elemental resistances actually drastically reduces the affix pressure, which means that in every gear slot, we're just looking for maximum life that can be supplemented with increased item rarity or stats where needed. That makes gearing it up extremely easy and very cheap. And of course, it also deals quite a lot of damage for the investment. So for cons, you would probably expect me to say that it's really squishy because it doesn't have any elemental resistances, but to be honest, it's not really the case. It's quite tanky with all the health, 75% max block that you get eventually, and the use of the Surrenderer. It actually clears just about everything in the game. I actually already cleared everything, all the bosses included Simulacrum, so it absolutely can be done. That's not really the issue. What's really a con is that at some point the gameplay can be rather slow, but it's not about this build specifically, but the playstyle of the totems. If you compare it to a playstyle to, let's say, builds that used Herald of Ice or things that explode the whole screen or 3 screens away with 1 click, it's not really the case. So if that's the type of build that you're looking for, and most players are eventually end game, maybe it's not the one for you, but it's absolutely a great starter and can clear you through the whole game regardless. Also, I forgot to mention the fact that because it's not using any elemental resistance, resistances. That means that it's also immune to any kind of debuff or penalties that you might have while mapping. Things like minus maximum resistances, elemental weakness, elemental penetration, and things like that that would otherwise break your build don't affect this build at all. As a matter of fact, it can just about run any mod whatsoever. I even ran maps with 100% no regen. So you can do just about any map you want. You can just Alk and go and things like that. While there are map mods that kind of hinder it or make it more difficult, there's nothing that can absolutely break your build. So that's another pro for this. So let's quickly do a recap of the gems and gear. We are using Ancestral Warrior Totem linked with Sunder, the stars of the build. We linked this with Heavy Swing, Super Critical, and Inspiration. For the sixth link, we will probably use something like Brutality or Infused Fire Damage or another damage dealer. There are multiple choices here. I just want to point out that Inspiration is absolutely mandatory. Even if I had a 3 link, I would probably still use it. Ancestral Warrior Totem, it consumes a lot of mana and life, so it's really recommended that you use Inspiration. Do not skip it. Initially, I was using Blood Magic on this build. Now I'm aiming for a mana version, and it seems to help with stacking life remnants, but nonetheless, Inspiration is still necessary even with the update that buffed mana costs. It's still mandatory, so be sure to use Inspiration. For Resonating Shield, we link it with Demolisher and Rage. Demolisher for more armor breaking and Rage to generate Rage, of course. Right here I'm using Soul Thief for some extra mana, but actually it's not really doing that much, so I probably just replaced it with Blind or something else. I'm experimenting with Bloodhound's Mark. I'm not really sure how good it is with this build, but I'm testing it and I'll see. For mobility, we are using Shield Charge with Stomping Ground and Ingenuity. You can also use Leap Sam. I should probably add that as well. For Spirit, we are using Overwhelming Presence with Blasphemy linked to Enfeeble to help us stay alive. And with life remnants, we use Dissipate, Interlude, Magnetism, and Cannibalism. These are not mandatory, but they are highly recommended because they help stack life remnants a lot. They make it a lot easier, and Cannibalism helps with sustaining your life so that when you use life remnants, they're added and don't heal you, just add on top of it. Yeah, that's about it. You can add other stuff, but these are the mandatory ones. In terms of gear, on the weapon, you want plus level of all melee skills, 6 or 7 if you can afford it. Reduced attribute requirements is really nice if you can get it, because these weapons require a lot of attributes. You can use a soul core to convert some of the attributes requirements into intelligence or dex, depending on what suits you. And yeah, just ignore all the other stats because they don't really matter. For the helm, mandatory Veil of the Night. This is the jewel of this build, to say it like that. All the other pieces basically just have life. We also want to have plus level of all melee skills on gloves and amulet. You can get +3 on an amulet, but that's usually pretty expensive. For the other gear pieces, you want high movement speed, life, and of course some item rarity if you can fit it on the boots. High life again, and some rarity, and that's about it. Like I said, the Surrenderer is really nice to have and recommended for higher end content, but at first you can just replace it with a rare shield with high block chance and high life. That's about it for the gears. For the charm, you can use a anti-stun charm, and if you have additional charm slots, you can use anti-freeze and whatever else you feel like you should. Yeah, that's about it in terms of gems. And let's quickly go over the skill tree. So for the Ascendancy, we obviously get Sanguimancy and Gore Spike the first. I haven't gotten my third Ascendancy yet. I was trying to do a trial when the server started crashing and rollbacks started happening, so I might try that after I'm filming this. For the third ascendancy node, we will probably get blood barbs to help with bleeding. Of course, grasping wounds is absolutely great if you're having trouble staying alive. This will probably be my fourth choice, but you can also go for this on your third choice and then get Crimson Power and pair this with a high energy shield armor that would result in around, I don't know, 1,000 life or something like that. It's really, really strong as well if you can get a nice armor with high energy shield. Uh, in terms of the skill tree, we basically just get a lot of luck. We go for the +1 to totem nodes and pick up some strength along the way. We obviously get Giant's Blood so that we can equip a two-handed weapon plus our shield, and a lot of block nodes, a lot of armor breaking nodes, and some damage nodes along the way. And that's pretty much it. I will also link, of course, the POB in the description. Keep in mind that the POB calculations are way off. They don't really, from what I can tell, POB doesn't see the link between Ancestral Totem and Sunder, and the damage it shows is really off. But I'll just link it for you to see the skill tree, gems, and gear. Yeah, that's. So, what about leveling? Well, to level, you basically just need a spear, preferably one with increased physical damage, but it's not really necessary, and two gems. The main gem you need is Rake. It requires a level 4 gem, and you should link that to Stomping Ground. From that point on, you just stack strength. You take the same path that you would otherwise take for this build and keep stacking strength and attributes. This combo is insanely strong and will steamroll through the mobs, and from that point on, you're basically just speed running the game. At level 16, I highly recommend you pick up Blood Barrier Iron Blocker. What that does is every time you block, it inflicts corrupted blood for 5 seconds, dealing 50% of your maximum life as physical damage per second. It's highly, highly strong. And when you pair that to things like Veil of the Night at level 28 and the Rat Cage at level 30, you will basically one-shot bosses through block. So I think that's just about it. I mostly covered everything. Let me know if you have any kind of question. I'm really interested in your feedback, so feel free to drop a comment. And as always, if you found this video useful, make sure you like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more updates. Thanks. See you soon.